In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, Gumpers. It's your favourite mummy's boy here, Carl Munson from Expats Portugal with the Good Morning Portugal live stream. How are you this morning? I'm afraid to say that Heronius Maximus cannot join us. He's fine and well, don't worry. Your man Michael is absolutely fine, but he can't join us this morning. And a very short notice, and I'm so thankful to him. Douglas Hughes will be joining us for the Ask Anything About Portugal session today from 9 until 10. So, Dougie, you know him. Doug, 2-minute taster Hughes. The Welshman in Portugal, a prolific writer for the Portugal News, of course, and a prolific video producer for us. Really, a lot of people have been enjoying his 2-minute tasters from the Algarve. We'll find out about his love of the Algarve, his love of Portugal generally. He was a key member of our Portugal, Good Morning Portugal wine club. That I think, having had a chat with Garvo and Linda earlier on this week, that will come back in the autumn. It might not be weekly. I think we set ourselves quite a schedule drinking wine together every Thursday night. I know that's a lightweight, position by Portuguese standards, but it was quite something to organise. So I think we'll go monthly. If you'd like to be on the panel and be considered for joining us on screen, an arduous process, of course. Probably we'll get Frank in charge of those interviews. And hopefully, Frank and Rachel will be back as well. Penny, Neil in the Alan Toe show for those good old days of the Good Morning Portugal wine show, bringing that back to your screens in the autumn. Okay, probably a monthly event. But then again, if we get so many people who want to do it, we could do it weekly with a revolving, with after all that wine, a spinning panel of people. So let's see how we go. Well, what a lovely thing to look forward to for the autumn, but we're not there yet. Going to give you a quick green screen based weather report. If you look over to the right of the screen, and you can see how the green screen is flaring and disappearing. That, my friends, is sunshine in San Martinho de Porto this morning. Absolutely bathing the green screen and disrupting the technology. That's what we like to see. Nature reasserting itself in the man-made world there. That's a great little metaphor, actually. So we'll allow that. We'll allow that little flash of sunshine to be there on your screens. I hope that doesn't bother you. And if it does, you're probably one of those VR people, right, who can't wait to be transhuman and be half machine. Well, that's not for us here, I don't think, us Gumpers. But I mean, we're a broad church, and I use the term loosely. Even when I say that, I know that can get people's knickers in a twist. But we're of many views here, and we engage respectfully and lawfully with our various views. And I think we rock along quite nicely. As we'll discover, of course, when we have a giggle with Dougie after 9 o'clock today. And talking of those wide-viewed people around the world, all welcome here with those 2 little ground rules, and even those. We're not going to bend the law, so you got to be here lawfully and respectfully. Sometimes that in the heat of human emotion, sometimes that can slip a bit. So that's one where we can go into special measures or do a little bit of extra work. But you get the gist. You get the gist of what we're about, and that's why I love you all so much. Attending to the spirit of how we roll here. And of course, there will be a few sore heads around the country. I didn't mention it yesterday because I didn't know. It's a bank holiday, public holiday yesterday. I only really discovered that yesterday when the family went over to Nazaré, and it's carnival there. They take it very seriously. And there was a real debauched undertone already at lunchtime. And I think a lot of people had already been at it, on it. What's the phrase that clubbers use? Since the day before, anyway. A friend on Twitter was saying yesterday, can't get used to this a whole thing of having a bank holiday on a Tuesday. It happens when it happens on the 1st of March here, of course, any day of the week. 1st of March is Carnival public holiday. I don't know if it's observed all over the country. I don't even know how we find those sorts of things out. In fact, I do. We find them out by finding them out like we did yesterday, and we might even remember next year. But that's how we roll here, and we're not going to get too bothered about it. Baldilocks is here, but I'll come back to Nazare. I've got a lovely little video to share with you, a brief one. And some lovely video in from Lonnie and Ralph and the crew who went up to Podence to see the Carretos. I mean, talking of playing with the shadow side or other aspects of human nature that get aired at certain times of year, you've got it all there in Podence on the 1st of March. Quite incredible. Great job, I think, Lonnie and Ralph. You did a great job, and I think people really enjoyed themselves. Well, lots of people converged in Podence, of course, and had a great time. And there's a Burning Man effigy at the end, which what I'll do is I'll play that at the end of this show. Thank you so much to Carlos and Lisa who were in the country and who were there. And I'm going to play that as a symbolic ceremonial procedure at the end of today's show. Well, hold it. It's quite a long video. I mean, certainly by my concentration span, it's a whole epic over 2 minutes, And I will play that at the end of the show, and I'll invite you to stick around to see it. It's a slow burn, pardon the pun, and what you might want to do is put your negative thoughts or things you want to get rid of as we go into spring and from the last year or few years, or anything from your life that you want to get burned away in a ceremonial manner. Let's watch the Burning Man part of the Podence Festa yesterday. Thank you to Carlos and Lisa for sharing that. So we'll do that at the end. And of course, thanks to Capricorn Chris, I have got the Thirst for Freedom Overcame All Fears video, which I've reworked. And I'm going to play that at the end as well, because it's very poignant. And if I play it now, I might cry. It's so moving. And it's about the Carnation Revolution, 1974. And I'm talking to Portuguese people about this. 2 years to go until there's the 50th anniversary. There's a lot to be learned in the world from the Portuguese approach to the revolution and overcoming oppressive powers, if you know what I'm getting at. So have a look. If you don't know anything about the Carnation Revolution, look it up. And I've got a real nice taster for you at the end of the show. Good morning, everyone. Around 10 o'clock. We're not too, we're not too stringent or uptight about finishing bang on 10 o'clock. I mean, don't get me wrong. I quite like to sometimes, but sometimes there are still things to talk about, and we go with the flow. We're Portuguese about it. Maybe what we need to do is everyone takes a ticket. Can we do that on a virtual way and have one of those little Delhi-style ticket machines? And when you arrive to watch the show, you get a number, and then I'll come to you according to your number and share a greeting with you, like we're doing with Baldilocks now. Number one, please. Numero un. Good morning, everyone from California and Baldilocks over there. And Deagle, Ash Wednesday, would love some bacalhau. Sadly, it's sea bass. Sadly, that's not so bad, is it? The Robalo. Enjoy that, your sea bass in Belfast. Is Belfast known for its seafood? I mean, quite rightly, it should be, right? With its seafaring past and position. What's the Belfast seafood speciality there? So it looks like you can hook a sea bass out of the water, but then again, maybe that's come from a aquaculture farm in Turkey. That's what I noticed. The dorada here are coming from Turkish aquaculture. Be careful with that. If you want the best fish here in Portugal, see that it's been caught off the coast here would be my recommendation to you, and not farmed. That's how they keep the price down. Of course, that's how they meet supply and demand issues. But if you want the best, get it caught out of the water, which I try and do at San Martino de Porto Market on a Saturday and a Sunday, I might say. I think at this time of year, we're finding that on a Sunday, the market is open as well to get the tourists in there, to get all that lovely fresh food, vegetables, fruit, and fish there. Not much in the way of meat, actually, but this is San Martino de Porto on the Atlantic coast. What would you expect? Go to central Portugal for more of a meaty leaning. And who doesn't like a meaty leaning first thing in the morning? The prof is here. Is that Vasco da Gama there? Is that a terrible guess or a really lucky and good one? Bon dia, membros. He's on about church as well this morning. That's quite the coincidence there at 6 minutes past 8. Bon dia, membros de Igreja dos Gumpas. The Church of Gumpers. I think we need an ID card, don't we? With the coat of arms on it. We have got one. Did you know that we have a coat of arms? Where you been, if you didn't know that? We've got an outfit, which is this, of course. That is the ceremonial outfit of the Gumper. And we also have our own coat of arms. Thank you to Warren Sharm, who also wrote the theme tune. Write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. There it is, the Church of the Gumper. There is our coat of arms. And welcome to all you members of the Church of the Gumpers from the Prof this morning. I wonder what he's got for us in the way of this day in Portuguese history. Let's have a look. Let's keep scrolling down. 60 completed. Oh, no, hold on a minute. Not 60 minutes. 60 days of 15 minutes a day. That adds up. That's 15 hours there, isn't it? A day in learning Portuguese on Memrise. Well done, Deagle. I take my hat off to you. If I take my headphones off to you, but then if I did that, I wouldn't be able to hear what's going on, and that would be difficult and awkward and possibly dangerous in this situation. But well done, mate! Absolutely brilliant. Parabéns. Muito bem. Have we still got this lovely? Yes, there you go. Here's one of these for you. We haven't done that for a little while, but one of those for you. And I live for that. I live for that thumbs up and that look from Philomena, who of course will be with us later on in the month. Good morning to you, Philomena. Lots of love to you if you're watching, and family. So there you go. T-Duck is here. Bom dia, alegria, Gumpa Nação, of course. My co-host on a Friday on the Bubble Off Centre. We'll have lots to talk about this Friday at 10:30. The storm drain of the Good Morning Portugal show. We have guests arriving shortly, so I'll miss most of the show today. Well, harumph, thank you very much. Go be with your guests. Hola, bom dia, alegria a todos. Amsterdam, feliz quarta-feira. So much more Portuguese being spoken now. I'm really enjoying this. Well, not always enjoying it, but I think it's a good thing. Stephen Wright, morning, Matty. Stephen Wright quote of the day. And if you notice, we keep asking him how he is. He doesn't dwell on that. And I quite like that sort of attitude. Be gone, illness, I think is Matty's approach to it. Stephen Wright quote of the day. Be nice to your children. After all, they are going to choose your nursing home. Indeed. In association with Serenity, as we found out yesterday. Be nice to Serenity. George Carlin quote of the day. Think off center. Is that right? George can't spell, though. Look, C-E-N-T-E-R. What are you thinking, George? But we get the gist. Absolutely brilliant. And Moaz, look, just posted a video about the carnival in Nazaré. I love the costumes. Oh, that's not like Carl. I just posted, Moaz, I just posted that, didn't I? And I'm going to play it this morning. I've got that for you. But I think I should wait for Dougie to come so he can see it as well. Dougie at 9. The Welshman in the Algarve. I'd listen to that, watch that. I do. Today in Portuguese history. There we go. Exactly. 1498. Yes! Vasco da Gama. Get in! Reaches the port of Mozambique on his first voyage to India. 1498. This was one of a chain of Muslim city-states. So, go Vasco. Who knew? And I mean, he wouldn't have known, would he, in 1498, what was to come of the Portuguese Empire. And I think he perished in his beloved India ultimately, didn't he? Da Gama tried to trade with the ruling sultan. His paltry gifts were scorned. What's that like when you rock up somewhere with your bacalhau presentation kit? Okay, let's work on this together. I'm thinking Vasco da Gama turns up, rocks up in Mozambique, and has some gifts, not paltry. I mean, presumably they thought about it, and they thought we'll put a bit of bacalhau in there, maybe some cheese from the Serra da Estrela. What else can we have? One of those little cockerels, of course, the Barcelos cockerel. Listen to my podcast about that. My Portuguese has come on a little bit, I have to say, since I first tried to talk about the Barcelos cockerel. And I want to play that for you because it's a great story. But anyway, so he's got a little presentation Barcelos cockerel in there, some cheese, some wine, of course. Porta Seis hadn't been invented then, so I imagine he just had a terracotta pot of wine, which would not be brilliant, right? Rocking up in a Muslim city-state. Here's some wine. Okay, and what else might be in there? Let us know, folks, if you will. Okay, let us know, please, what Vasco da Gama might have turned up with, only to be described as paltry later on by the rulers, where he turned up and had a secret agenda to conquer. Or did he at that point? I don't know. The Portuguese have totally underestimated the quality of goods being traded in this part of the world. Cotton, ivory, gold, and pearls. Yeah, can you imagine being, like in that scene from 300 where Xerxes is sat in his throne surrounded by cotton, ivory, gold, and pearls, and someone turns up with a bit of old bacalhau from Portugal. May I please present to you my gift from Portugal, in a Portuguese accent. And he opens the box like, wow, what is that? Well, we love eating it over here. Don't you like it? No, it is poultry. Take it away. Not poultry would have been another, wouldn't it? With some frango over there as well. It's not going well, is it, in my depiction? Can anyone else please add to that and save Vasco da Gama in this particular vignette? OLP is here. Good morning, all you wonderful gumpers. How's it going? I didn't say hello to Moaz properly, did I? Thank you, Moaz, for your announcement. And of course, you were up early this morning watching. I get to do that every morning. Sounds a bit sinister when we say it like that, Moaz. We were up watching Louisa this morning. You mean on the video? Of course you do. Mrs. M was on video. And Dougie is here. I think we need to get Dougie on a bit earlier. As soon as we've said a few hellos, let's get Dougie on. There's no point making him wait till 9. He's all dressed up and ready to go, suited and booted. He's taking this serious. He's almost got a dinner jacket on in traditional BBC style, or WBC. This is the Welsh Broadcasting Company. Look you, fabulous. Good morning. And he will give me marks out of 5 for my Welsh accent and stereotype there. He'll probably punch me in the face for that. Good morning. I often hear before midnight, just observing. Oregonians loving Portugal. Do you king cakes for Mardi Gras in Portugal? What does that mean? Do you do king cakes? Do you do king cakes? I didn't do a king cake yesterday. I didn't do anything kinky or king-like yesterday, as far as I'm aware. Each to their own with that. Please explain a little bit more, OLP. I'm having a hard time to dedicate 15 minutes to learn Portuguese. I'm retired and have lots of free time, but I'm so lazy. If you want something done, ask a busy person. Please note the Portuguese spelling is carnival. Yes, so true. And I'll tell you what, it's only 2 letters short of carnal, which was the atmosphere I was picking up on yesterday, I have to say. It was quite an atmosphere. And that's funny, I do that sometimes as well. What's that? Bake king cakes, I wonder. Bon dia from the coach. Hope you're having a great day off for a long walk in the hills of Évora this morning to help offset all the great food we've been having. Yes, Alentejo quietly putting Portuguese food on the map in a very skillful and stylish way, I understand, over there. And Évora has a name, doesn't it, for being incredible when it comes to the fine dining. I prefer a more, an unpretentious. That's why I love Portuguese food, because it's so unpretentious. It's just so natural and nutritious and plain. Not plain in a bad way, but without, there's no emulsions of this or that on there, or foams or anything like that. Well, you can probably get that in Portugal, but straight up food, great food, as we had in Nazaré yesterday. So shout out to Jerry for some fantastic recommendations. Brilliant. Well done. Yeah, Jerry's a bit of a gourmet, as is Lucy. So, yes, you'll have got some great recommendations from Jer there. What's this? Moaz. I'm not in Phoenix any longer. I went back to Bahrain to be close to my family after I started having back issues and needed help. But you're in the States now, right? I think. And gotta rest up for the great walk today to the coach there. So we're all with you on that, Coach Turner. Have a great walk. And let us know if you've got any pics of your food. That would be great. Well, we can't keep Dougie. Dougie's here. He meant to be here at 9. I'm not complaining about that, Doug. You are here and now on the screen. There's no reason for you to be waiting in the green room, my friend. Good morning to you. Hola, bon dia. Tudo bem?
Bon dia all. Yes, nice to be back.
Oh, you are back, as in back on this screen. But I think, are you back in Wales as well?
Hence the no T-shirts. Yes.
I thought so. Dressed for Welsh weather. Beautiful presentation. There were some lovely roses there. Thank you, Doug, for making such an effort. And what a tour you've been on recently in the Algarve. You love the Algarve. You're a prolific writer for the Portugal News. Amazing the amount of copy that you've submitted to them and the way you keep us all informed. And, of course, your 2-minute tasters. And who doesn't like a 2-minute taster first thing in the morning with Douglas Hughes? When did this love of the Algarve begin? When does it go back to? Tell us about your love of Portugal and the south there, Doug.
I started off, a friend of mine lives on the Algarve, and he's into classic cars, as I have been and still am to a degree. Yeah. And there are meetings, quite a lot of meetings on the Algarve. There's a classic car club over there. And basically we started going on a few rallies together, and our trips took us beyond the Algarve, and I started sort of having an appreciation of not just the Algarve but the whole of Portugal, because these tours there was a 500-mile one that they went up to the Alentejo and the Lisbon area and beyond. So basically that's how I got involved just over 10 years ago, and Portugal hasn't got rid of me yet.
Well, evidently, and we love your videos. Really appreciate the effort you go to with those, and you really try and get here as often as possible, right? It would seem.
I do, yes. Still have commitments at home. Still have family at home, of course. And at the moment, my wife still works, so it would be very difficult to tear her away from that and the
Yes.
grandchildren, of course.
Of course, of course. Yeah. Okay. So, well, keep those 2-minute tasters coming. We'll skip it today because you're here to speak for yourself, and
Oh,
I'm
really? Yes.
continue with showing those with great pleasure. I think we've got a couple more in the pipeline to share with people, and we will get them on our YouTube channel as well, so they can be enjoyed furthermore, even more around the world by even more people. So great to have you here. The rules on a Wednesday, if there are such things here on the Good Morning Portugal live stream, or ask anything about Portugal. Doug with his 10-year experience of Portugal and the Algarve, will do his best alongside me to help you, along with the hive mind. The Gumpers are here, of course, who will help you as well. And you Gumpers might have questions. And the longer it goes on and you haven't had a question answered, I think the harder it gets. So those questions, especially where you've thought, I should have known this when I first arrived in Portugal, but it still befuddles me to know X, Y, or Z. I mean, after 10 years, you're still learning things about Portugal, I'm guessing.
Oh, I'm still learning things about home, let alone Portugal, you know? Yeah. So I don't think I don't think even Portuguese people know absolutely everything about Portugal, do they? You know, it's
True.
if you chuck everything in a box, I suppose you can condense the amount of time I've spent in Portugal to a couple of years. You know,
Yeah.
out of that 10, and of course that doesn't even scratch the surface, does it?
No, indeed. Yeah, you're right. You're right, because you can mention a place quite proudly and happily to a Portuguese person. I had this experience. You know, I was talking to a friend, Portuguese friend. I said, you know, and I was doing some business with him, and I said, you know, we need to go over to meet somebody in Tamar. Never been to Tamar, he said, and that really surprised me. But then again, if you spin it round, I mean, you haven't been to every Welsh castle, and I haven't been to every West End show, because even though I lived in London, you don't necessarily do all the things that tourists do you, when you live there?
Well, you tend to do less than tourists, don't you? If it's on your doorstep, you tend not to bother, do you? But I suppose it's different if you've migrated to a different territory. You're going to have an inherent interest in it, aren't you? Which is why I suppose. I mean, I did the same thing many moons ago. When I used to tour Ireland more extensively than I currently do, and I knew more about perhaps Ireland than some of the locals did. You know, it's that thing, isn't it? When you ask somebody in a petrol station, well, how do you get to somewhere that's only 2 miles away, and they'll look at you sort of with a blank look and say, "Oh, I don't know." You know? so
but very interesting. Very interesting that you've got Ireland and Portugal among your favourite places by the sound of it, and there is a similarity, isn't there, that people remark upon?
I think there is. Yeah, there is. It's sort of a lesser populated brother of a larger territory, hence England and Spain in these two cases. Yeah, or UK and Spain.
Yes,
But
good
the
point, good point.
Republic of Ireland is a beautiful place. You know, there are so many hidden away places to discover.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Doug, what I want to share with you today is the carnival atmosphere that I picked up on in Nazareth. And of course, some of our buddies were over there in Podence at the Carretos Festival, Festa. These characters here, I'll show you some pictures now of what went on there. I mean, you're familiar with this character, I think, often shown in Portuguese tourism brochures, and why wouldn't it be? Traditionally, these are where the young fellas dress up, and they have a dangly wooden implement hanging from their waistline, which, of course, you don't need to be Freud to work out what that is. And actually, the food is all about the sausages as well, which interestingly, which I hadn't made that connection, and people will be surprised about that, I'm sure. And they swing their hips. I think you might be able to see a bit of wood there if you look closely. They swing their hips.
No, I wonder if this has got any sort of ancient sort of connection with some kind of sort of wedding or
Oh, it's true. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It does for sure. And what they do, and with in more modern times, the permission of the recipient, they swivel their hips, and the piece of wood clashes with the buttocks of the person B. Let's call them person B. And that you're quite right. I suspect that is an ancient marriage ritual, and possibly fertility ritual. And the recipient will think, I like this. I like the cut of this jib. I like the swivel of those hips. This is the man for me, possibly.
But do keep those stangly bits away from my buttocks.
and the fire, right?
Mm.
As well. Keep your dangly bits away from my buttocks. Best
Right.
quote of the day so far from Doug. And it all ends like this, where I think as well, there's another ritual of like, well, let's burn everything we don't like right now.
Yes.
Symbolically. And that's part of it. And we have a video. We've got video to come of that later on. But
I think that's Doc in the foreground. That's him with his hat to the back of the picture.
I recognize that hat anywhere, right?
That's Doc, no question about it.
And next question then, if that's Doc, who often is with us second and fourth Wednesdays of Ask Anything About Portugal, who is the burning effigy?
Mrs. Thatcher, without doubt.
Of course, yes. And here's Lonnie and Ralph, who organised that tour yesterday. Ralph,
amazing.
the star of the North, and wonderful Lonnie from our Gumper community. I think folks had a good time. Let us know, Lonnie.
You're supposed to hold up your fork and knife and go, where on earth is my dinner? You know, where's my dinner?
Hey, mind your language, talking about your fork and knife here on the show.
Fork and knife, yes.
Okay, does anyone know if it's easy? Actually, do you know what knife is in Portuguese? And presumably you order one of those if the mood needs lightening.
Do you know what? I have to confess that I don't.
Well, I would like you to ask for a knife next time you are in. You could do a strategic drop of your knife and need another one.
Okay.
And then look it up on Google Translate and have some fun with that. Does anyone know if it is easy to rent bikes in the Algarve? Doug, straight to you with an Algarve question from the OLP. I mean, I don't have you as a bike rider. You're a petrol head, aren't you?
Is that a reference to my waistline, by the way? So, can you imagine?
I don't think so. They're a bit more direct than that. But
I think it is easy to. I've been in several towns and cities, and there are usually facilities, even in the country areas, where you can hire bikes, even electric bikes, which is something I'd probably be more interested in.
I suspect, and this is the way with Portugal, isn't it? Is that yes, it's always the answer, but try finding it. That's the challenge, isn't it? So there probably will be a great company that hires motorbikes, so you can go up and down, Route 66 of Portugal, push bikes, electric bikes. You'll be able to get it all in Portugal, but it's finding the business that does it. And as Ralph said,
usually in the bigger towns, you'll find scooter and motorbike hire. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And Ralph came up with this classic comment, the gentleman on the right in the picture here. And we said to him, why is it that these festas and occasions aren't advertised around Portugal? And he said, because we all know when they happen. And I think businesses are like that here in Portugal as well. And what's wrong with that, apart from when you're trying to find a bike to rent in the Algarve? So OLP, I think yes, and get on our forum. Go to the Expats Portugal forum. And ask that question as the subject line of your forum entry, and I'm sure people will get back to you on that. Okay, Phoenix will always be home, but Portugal will be the next home for Moaz. And we were talking about Bahrain. I don't know if you've been to Bahrain. It's a tiny, small island with very hot and humid summers. Okay, so are you then thinking of moving to the Algarve area or an area not so hot in Portugal to Moaz? But let's generalize that. Is it the weather you love down there in the Algarve? And I mean, you have to like hot weather, right? If you're going to be spending a lot of time in the Algarve.
Well, funnily enough, I have a tendency to, as you probably noticed by now, I tend to come early in the spring or maybe in the autumn when it's not so hot.
Okay.
I mean, unfortunately, I had to come to Portugal a couple of years ago, just before things went silly with lockdown. And unfortunately, it was to attend the funeral of a very dear friend. And this was, of course, in a late July or August, and it was boiling hot, and way too hot for the likes of me.
Okay, so choose your times wisely to enjoy the beauty, if not the searing heat. And so August and September, the worst, or not worst, but the hottest times of the year, presumably.
September's a lovely time of year, going on to October, where even in the Algarve, the worst of the heat has dissipated.
Okay.
I always notice that that the Algarve, or the Western Algarve, is absolutely filled with a lot of people from Andalusia, which is even hotter, of course. They come for the cool sea breezes.
Okay. That's interesting to know as well. So ask anything about Portugal. Doug is here this morning. Michael Heron couldn't make it, but he's a rebellious upstart anyway. So it's you and me, Doug, instead today, working our way through the wonderful comments that are coming in. And look, someone's coming to your aid already, OLP. Some of the hotels have them for rent for their clients, and I think the cycle shops rent them out. Lots of electric bikes too, as Doug you said just then. That's really good to know, isn't it? So yes, ask your hotel, ask your Airbnb host. They will know that sort of thing as well. Love to move to the Algarve. My back doesn't like cold weather, but Lisbon has the best medical services in Portugal. I think there are outbreaks of great medical services as well. With all the expats in the Algarve, the medical services in the Algarve are pretty awesome, aren't they, Doug?
Absolutely. Fortunately, I've not had to avail of them very much, except for insect bites and things like that, which are often dealt with by the by the pharmaceutical people. But generally, I've not needed any medical services whilst I've been in Portugal. So touch wood.
But there are lots of expats and lots of very wealthy people in the Algarve. So I would have thought the Algarve's medical services would parallel Lisbon's, and probably easier to get to as well. Carlos is here. So Carlos and Lisa with the lovely photos and videos from Prudence yesterday and the Caritas Festa there in Prudence. Thank you so much to both of you. How's it going? Have you got a sore head today? How was that wonderful coach trip? It looked fantastic to me. Have you asked Michael at Serenity? So he would know all the medical places. Yes, indeed. And I believe, without letting on any confidences there, I think Moaz is quite impressed with Serenity. Antonio F is here. Morning. How you doing? Bom dia todos from Antonio F. And Trevor's here. Hey, Trevor, how are you? Hola from Lisboa. Great to see you here. And yes, Serenity is, of course, located in Lisbon. So, okay, Lisbon it might well be then. Bom dia, Gumpers from MC Slug. Feliz carta, todos. To digo, muito bom. That's the 15 minutes of Portuguese. We'll ask Doug in a minute how he gets on with his Portuguese and what his hacks are for that. I've been at it since 2022 and learning Portuguese. Well, hey, estudei por 35 minutos on time. Very good. Very impressive there. To James and Eddie said, the language then 10 years coming here, has it improved for you? What do you do? Or I guess it's easier in the Algarve, right? All the Portuguese people are pretty much speaking English down in the Algarve. Do you have a go?
Oh God, yeah, I have a go. But like you say, and the Portuguese people, they're as keen to learn English as I am to learn Portuguese. So when they realize I'm struggling a little bit, they always turn it around and say, well, you mean you want a hamburger?
Yeah, go on then. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Yes, but the most important one is Uno Imperial Fast Favor, which is
Imperial, the beer, the cold beer in the Algarve there. And yes, that's a really good lifestyle tip actually, because some people might be tempted to get what's the big one, the Kaneka. Oh, hey, we're in, particularly the Brits. We're in the Algarve. Get the beers in. And
I learned that one by Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
Connecticut. But I mean, what is it? A liter or something? That's a big old glass, isn't it?
No, a Kaneka is just slightly shy of a pint, actually. Yeah.
Is that all it is? But the problem with it, of course, in the heat that we spoke about before, the beer goes warm. So you're better off having a series of Imperials, aren't you?
Deutsche Imperiage.
Yes,
and keep them coming.
Keep them coming. Okay, Ron's here as well. Bon dia todos de Ron in Cascais. Good morning to you. How's Cascais this morning? Always lovely there over that way, isn't it? Rebel Mama's in. Haven't seen you for a while. Hola, bon dia. Os meus povos. Son left yesterday and had a fun day in Porto. Did I miss anything good? Always, Rebel Mama, but it sounds like you're having a great time as well. We missed something good hanging out with you there, by the sound of it. Hola, bon dia todos. Always lovely to see a flasher in the morning. What's he talking about? I think he's talking about my green screen, isn't he? Still a bit of sunshine. No, the sunshine's gone from there, but the sun was bathing the green screen. Okay, well, Pete, whatever floats your boat there. Oh, Anna sent me a beautiful photo. Thank you very much, Anna. Bon dia a todos. We'll bring that to you later on as well. Jacqueline Branco's in. Fantastic. Saj Mahmood is here. Our property price is going to slow down. What's your view on that, Doug?
Oh, it's supply and demand, I suppose, and I suppose if interest rates get out of hand, they'll probably temper the buying ability of customers somewhat. But there needs to be a greater supply of properties, and I think this also applies to Portugal.
Yeah.
I believe.
Wiley's in tomorrow. Talking of Qashqai, she'll be in talking about some of her listings and colleagues' listings. We're going to see some amazing property tomorrow. I think in the millions of euros.
Beautiful in
Price,
Cascais, yeah, absolutely gorgeous
yes.
properties there.
Yeah, we're going to be showing a dream home or two tomorrow, and probably
Mm.
Laundry Gate will rear its head as well tomorrow. Curb appeal, hanging laundry. Does that bother you, Doug? Seeing laundry hanging out the front of a building?
Not if you're in an Italian town or city, or maybe a big Portuguese town or city, it's almost what you expect, and I think
Of course.
it would be the lesser for without it.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and she's not too keen on the old garden gnomes either. So we're having a whip round for Wiley.
But I suppose if you've spent an absolute fortune on a property and there's somewhere a little bit less sort of tidy nearby, people are going to feel a little miffed. But of course, you should have known that when you were buying. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yes. So do you think this would spoil a £1 million property? A couple of alabaster.
I think I sent you that photograph from a little place called Alte.
That was one of yours, wasn't it? That's amazing.
Yeah.
The karmic wheel has turned fully back to you.
Alte is quite an arty little town there in the Algarve. It's obviously the name suggests that it's up in the hills, and they've got lots of art installations and murals and gnomes and all sorts of interesting little things dotted around the place, and the most beautiful floral arrangement. And it's a place well worth visiting.
Okay, all right. So not such a bad idea then. That idea. We'll see what we'll have a look at the look on Wiley's face when we say we've had a collection, and it was Doug's idea, of course. Right. So property prices. I'm not sure anytime soon, but you're right. I mean, world events. There isn't. What part of the problem, of course, in Portugal is there isn't enough inventory as the people in the business. So that puts the prices up, doesn't it? If there's not enough in the mix of property coming onto the market, it's going to drive up the prices of the existing properties. Look further afield would be one way of getting lower prices, better value, Saj, on that. Do let me know if that helps. Another quote of the day: "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." Oh, I feel better just reading that, don't you, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, we need to say just one word to Putin. We'll have to make it into two. This one, just go away.
Okay, nicely put. Okay, so you have, of course, contributed an article to the Portugal News on this basis, right? What's your feeling about what's going on in Ukraine at the moment?
Absolutely appalled, like everybody else, I think. I mean, I can't say any more than that. I mean, there doesn't seem to be an end game or any logic to what is done, either logically or militarily. It's completely outrageous, isn't it?
Yes, and I heard Julia Hartley Brewer on Talk Radio this morning saying our leaders, they didn't seem to be very well prepared for the pandemic, and they don't seem to be very well prepared for what's happened. The backdrop of what's gone on in Ukraine. Would you agree with that assessment? Do you think that's where we are? So we're looking to people to help protect, if you like, whose job it is to do this, and they're just not there. They're not performing, and maybe the world's changing. Maybe we can't expect that anymore.
They're a little bit impotent for the simple reason that if they do too much, of course, they're going to rattle that Russian bear's cage. Perhaps what they're terribly afraid of is drawing in the war beyond the bounds of Ukraine, beyond the borders of Ukraine. So they have to be incredibly careful how they proceed, and that's the top and bottom of it.
It is, isn't it? And it's very easy, isn't it, for the armchair generals to say, "Well, we've got to teach this bully a lesson. Let's get in there." I mean, whose children are we talking about there? It's all very well, isn't it, for all these people to say, "Yes, we need to arm up, we need to go in heavy," but that's other people's lives you're talking about there. So, of course, not the smartest idea for me. Hola, bon dia, gumpers from Pippa. There's all Pips in Botswana. Sam in Nazaré is here. Did you leave the town to avoid the debauchery yesterday? Let's have a look at that, I think, now. And we'll have a look see what went on in Nazaré, and we'll do some Pedence footage as well. But Sam's here from Nazaré, or has named himself such. And Sarah's here as well, working on the insomnia. Bon dia, alegria. Thank you very much.
My microphone's fainted.
It's not the heat, is it?
No.
It must just be being around you. Your
Never happened to anything before.
It's swooned. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to put a 2-minute taster on you now, Doug. The king of the 2-minute tasters. I've got one for you from Nazare from yesterday, and you will see the interior briefly of a restaurant I love, because I want to come back and talk to you. You would seem to be nodding your head about the simplicity and tastiness of Portuguese food. So we'll have a little bit of a chat about that as well after this. But today, Fat Tuesday, Boa Carnaval, Toros. Check it out. I'm going to give you a little look around downtown Nazaré so you can see the sea in the distance. Not me. Let's go and have a look at the what's going on the front here. So I think people are getting ready for Carnival here in Nazaré. It's pumping. And there are some very marvellously dressed folks. Let's go up this lane here to our favourite restaurant in Nazaré. I do recommend you come. Look at this gentleman here. Marvellous. Low-cost nights. That's good, isn't it? I think big hangovers, even if they are low-cost nights tonight. And there's our favourite restaurant there. Just walking through the lanes of Nazaré. We went to this one a long time ago. Restaurant Casa dos Becos. And these lovely Carnival folk here. So I'm just going to walk you into the restaurant and have a quick look at the Carnival people. Boa Carnival, pessoas.
Boa Carnaval, meu querido.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
And here we are, inside our favourite restaurant here. Just going to have something to eat now. And I spelt it wrong, didn't I?
Awesome.
Wasn't that lovely lady at the end? Isn't that Portugal right there on Festa Carnival Day?
Absolutely brilliant. And the ladies, you know, it doesn't matter what time of year, they still wear those thick woolen,
Yes.
don't they? I think I did an article about Nazaré some months ago, and I was fascinated by the way those ladies dress.
Yes, and dance. I mean, those moves.
The skirts apparently have 7 layers, and it's to do with the seven seas, or the 7 moods of the seas, or something like that.
Really.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
yes, on a romantic occasion, a lot of allure, we might say.
You might say, yes.
You might say, but we're not going to this morning. Okay, so we've got a lot of catching up to do. Some fantastic comments coming in. I think people enjoying that little taster of Carnival in Nazaré. We'll go to Prudence, of course, as well. Doug's here for some Ask Anything About Portugal action. And Francis was here as well. I'm going to scroll back all the way back up. Oh, Owen's here as well. Fantastic. So Francis is in from Cape Town this morning. Bom dia, alegria a todos. Hope all are well. Happy Hump Day. Absolutely. Olá, bom dia. Jazz Funk Faixa do Dia is the loose ends hanging on a string. Choo! Trio of Jane, Eugene, Steve Nicol, and Carl McIntosh had several hits in the 80s. The group still exists today, but they're hard to find on Spotify, I think. Or am I thinking of 52nd Street? Anyway, that's a bit jazz funk nerdy. One for you, Chris. And I hope you're enjoying the video I sent you. Good morning, people from a lovely Lisbon this morning. And he's been talking, I think, to his favourite tree this morning. That's head gardener. Lee McGrady, not any old Lee McGrady, but head gardener, and he stopped. I don't know if he's on his bike or in his van or whatever, probably in his van with all his gardening equipment. But look at that. That's his scene, that part of the Atlantic coast in Almada, south of Lisbon. Do you know Caparica and Fonte de Telia, those beaches, Doug?
I know them reasonably, yes. Always extremely windy, and I think that the trees sort of signify that. They're bowing to the to the natural flow of the air.
Well, that's right. And there's only 2 things that look like that in Portugal. That's a tree on the Atlantic coast, and you coming back from the pub on a Saturday night in the Algarve, right?
Absolutely, yes. That's not far wrong.
Oh, Anna's picture that I mentioned before. Look at this. Now, you'll recognize that statue, I think. The Algarve file. Are you sensing this one?
Is that the Marquis of Pombal?
Whereabouts though? Where are we talking about? This is in the Algarve. Maybe
Is that Villarreal de Santo Antonio by any chance?
it's
No.
Faro.
Is it
Faro.
Faro? Oh wow.
Yeah, I think probably the old town, isn't it? But to be fair to you, a statue with a stork on it isn't that much to go on in the Algarve, is it?
You've got to keep away from those boys now. Apparently, there's bird flu being found in them, isn't there? So
Is that right? Oh wait, they're not trying to steal your bacalhau, your chips, or what you're trying to. They're
they
trying.
don't though. Only the seagulls do that.
Does that happen in the Algarve as well? Have you got to watch out for that?
No, I've never seen it.
Okay, all right. So Anna, thank you so much for that. The legend that is the photographer, Anna. Of course.
I wonder who the statues of. It looks ecclesiastical with that gown, doesn't it?
Yeah, or the founder, the founding father of Faro, maybe, which is a nice inspiration. Benoit, a pic from my Faro trip today. So many storks in the city, and who doesn't like a stork in the morning? So that's a lovely picture. Thank you very much. They're getting up as far as the Silver Coast, but I think they like the warm weather because it turned a little bit. It got a bit duller, and they just disappeared. I don't know whether they take safe haven, whether they fly south again, and they're up and down until they find the right spot to go to.
They just go into their little houses and shelter in by the central heating. They've got any sense.
Before they go back to their holiday home on an electric pylon somewhere.
That's it. Yeah, free electric. You don't. There's no
You do wonder.
energy bills there.
You know, is that Frango I can smell, or a stork that had a bad landing? You know. Well, I have to get into permaculture intro Zoom meeting with Cindy B at 10:30. So don't get too long, Carl. Oh, okay. That's not the first time I've heard that. Owen is here, morning all. And Pete, Portugal has the biggest sea rights in Europe, and yet no cod are caught. Top tip, Carl. Yes, so the Portuguese go to Norway, don't they, for their a lot of their cod, I believe.
I think the cod like the colder waters, don't they? And
I've never seen a piece of cod or a cod piece, neither of those in a Portuguese market, and I think we should reinstate that. It could go nicely with the banana slug outfit. A great fish market every Friday, Saturday in Belfast city centre. Okay, great. So it is a seafood place, as you might expect. Almost beside the city hall, sea bass, trout, salmon, mussels, cod, crab. Stop it with your shellfish talk. There would be our main fish. That's lovely, isn't it? Portuguese food, then, Dougie. You're a fan of the simplicity. I saw you nodding your head.
Yeah, well, there's nothing not to like, really, is there? I mean, it comes served. I call gourmet food fiddled with food. I mean, and you can have a gourmet meal that hasn't been fiddled with, and you just get the natural flavors of things. And that I think is the beauty of Portuguese culinary skill. I mean, everything's especially fish, grilled and served with vegetables or salad. I mean, there's nothing not to like, is there? It's beautiful.
Nice, and you get to taste the ingredients, don't you? You get to taste the freshness or not of the food. It's not masked or hidden by anything. No added value. It's just right there on the plate, which is what I love. And what we had yesterday, some lovely camarão, some prawns. We had some lula, some squid. A dourada, traditionally, of course. And what was the other thing? Oh, an espetada, which I suspect you're partial to from time to time. A skewer of grilled.
Are those not the ones that sort of dangle down over a bed of rice?
It wasn't served like it wasn't served in the dangly style. It was horizontal.
I think that's a more of a Brazilian idea, I believe.
Could well be, couldn't it? Quite a nice serving idea because you can just ease the meat off the skewer onto your bed of rice below. But rather than throwing it across the room,
that's the
you
one.
try and ease it off. And why does the flying piece of pork always hit a bald man on the back of the head?
Gosh.
When you're out trying to impress a date. Cindy B, bon dia, alegria, gumpers. Bon dia, alegria to you, Cindy B. All the best. Break a spade, whatever it is you say to somebody who's starting a permaculture course. Not break a leg on the boards, but break a spade or something like that. Recycle your pots. They're over on the permaculture course, which starts today, of course. All the best with that. And everyone on there. Bon dia, Portugal. De Costa Diogo. Let's go with Diogo then. Not your full and long name. Great T-shirt, of course. Wishing to be there with you all, and you are in some way. Columbus didn't know he wasn't in India when he crashed into what is now the West Indies. Yeah, those sorts of historical perspectives are fascinating, aren't they? I agree with you. And yes, you could look at my back and say, pain, pain, go away. Okay, this is Matty, I think, saying to Moaz, you can live anywhere in Portugal as long as you can travel to your appointments. And you still got me to take a look at your back. What a great offer. Is this a friend of yours, Terna? With some, I think that's probably one of those dodgy links, isn't it? We might have to ban that fella if he keeps doing that. And not a gumper, which I've been known to do recently. And the name West Indies will now forever be evidence of his ignorance. Isn't that amazing? None of us will probably have our ignorance quite as globally illustrated as that, and historically.
You have to cut him a little bit of slack. No, yeah, he didn't know better, did he?
He didn't know any better. That is not how it works. Hold on, what's this? Pain, pain, go away. It is more find the source of the pain and have you work on resolving it with exercises. That's not what we want to hear, Matty. We just want you to take the pain away, don't we? Leave the swelling sometimes, but take away the pain. Bon dia, alegria todos from Mark as well. And the Portuguese Jewish folk brought battered fish to the UK. There you go. Another top tip fact there. Thank you very much for that, Ray Thompson. And good morning to you with your sunflower picture there. Made it to 83 days of 15 minutes in drops and then forgot to do it yesterday. Back to square one. 20. Oh, don't be too hard on yourself, Sam. You've done that's amazing. 83 days of 50 minutes. Give yourself some credit, unless you're one of those perfectionists where nothing is ever good enough, especially on yourself. Hola, bon dia, kids from sunny Praia da Rocha, a place you know as well, of course. Dougie spent a lovely day lunching in Cartera, then exploring gorgeous Lulé, where Carnival was sadly cancelled. Boo! So those places, I think we've had vids from both of those from you, and certainly pictures. What would you say about those? What would you say about those two places, Doug, from your experience?
Well, I spent several days down in Quartera, and I one of the 2-minute tasters that's yet to come is filmed in nearby Villa Moura. Quartera's lovely. It's got a huge long beach, and I did send you a 2-minute taster from there. Do you remember when I came across those dolphins?
Yes, yeah, amazing. What was that like?
There were basically there was a bunch of fishing boats out and right next to the docker, and I have a sneaky feeling that they might have been investigating the dolphins. Now were investigating the fishermen and might have been hoping for a few scraps, I guess. But there was a whole pod of them. They must obviously couldn't count them, but I imagine there was about a dozen to 15. Rather, they look quite big, dolphins, and unfortunately, my camera hadn't got the good enough zoom because they were doing all that jumping out of the water and somersaults and all that.
Once in a lifetime stuff there. So you get that in the Algarve as well. That's beautiful. And Lulé, of course, what a fantastic market they've got there.
Absolutely beautiful. I met our lovely lady who came on last time I was on. Do you remember that lady from France? Claire, I think she's called. I do apologize if she's watching because I'm terrible with names. But we arranged to have a little meet up in one of the cafes at Lolé there, and we had an hour or two having a chat and a coffee, and it was nice to see her.
Yeah, superb market. We stayed in a lovely hotel overlooking the market, and on a Saturday morning, it's vibrant. It's one of Portugal's great for its markets. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying it's well, it is better than, but the bar is so high when it comes to markets around Portugal. It's such a brilliant part of life here. But it goes a stage further. I love that market.
It's amazing because right now, through the centre part, it's all restaurantes and cafe bars and coffee shops, isn't it? And you can't go wrong.
And a lovely town for a wander as well, Lulé there.
Absolutely, yes.
Biological dentist as well, like an organic, free-range, ethical dentist in Lulé as well. Would you believe? Reinhardt, is that his name? I understand king cakes are here. It's called Bola de Rei. Of course it is, and it's more of a Christmas thing, of course. Thank you very much for that, Rebel Mama. And bon dia from Pamela Smith, who'll be here tomorrow. We're talking about pets in Portugal. Anna Vieira leading the way on that tomorrow night. Ask our expats anything about life in Portugal. It's what we're doing with Doug right here this morning, and I'm sure Pam will help out. Cat fan Pam and her experiences of having a cat here in Portugal. Maybe other pets as well. Although I think Anna did say it's limited to cats and dogs. We won't be talking about goats, snakes, scorpions, or anything else. But maybe that will come into the conversation. Who knows?
You're reminding me of the Welsh weather with cats and dogs.
Indeed. What's it like over there at the moment? It looks very cozy and snug in your house, Doug.
It's not too bad. It's a bit grey outside, but it's not as cold as it's been. So apparently it's quite cold while I was away. While I was away in Portugal, it was chilly here. Of course, they had those named storms as well. Eunice came along and all the rest of it. And
Franklin.
Eunice and Franklin are both long gone now, thankfully.
You must have been very popular then, just to waltz back with your sunglasses on and your t-shirt into the
Yes.
warm weather. Fantastic. Matty talking about the beauty of Pombal. I think there is a great base, no question about it. Pombal, and you mentioned the Marquis of Pombal earlier on, didn't you? Pombal, town in his honour in central Portugal. Great city. Very, very good indeed. Okay, so Nubianet is here also this morning. The 80s guy is Doug.
Oh, thank you very much. I don't mind being called the 80s guy.
Yeah, that's a fashion and style reference, not an age reference. I'm going to point out there, but it's not. We've still got this actually to settle. I'm going to show you this picture. I'm not. I was going to threaten you with one more time. No, we're going to keep showing it until we've guessed who this is. That could be you, couldn't it? The similarly handsome fellow from the 80s, Nick.
Before I had to wear spectacles. I don't think I'd go anywhere near that shirt, having said that. But
it was the 80s, Doug.
Of course it was.
Come on. So who is this? Who is this in our community? They are here this morning. It's not Doug guessing the Gumper this morning. Things have changed, haven't they, since the old wine club days? We didn't know we were called Gumpers then, did we? Have you got happy memories of the wine club?
Absolutely, of course I have. Yes, it was wonderful. We drank an awful lot of very nice wine and had quite a lot of banter. It was great fun.
And ruined it with a political debate. Carl, the moment you mentioned it was quite an atmosphere in Nazareth yesterday, straight away Russ Abbott came to mind. I love the party with a happy atmosphere.
Back to the 80s.
I love a carnival with an atmosphere. Of course you do. How green is your valley, Dougie?
Oh, very green indeed. I mean, it couldn't be any damn greener because we've had nothing but rain for months on end. So, which is something I noticed when I had a few days up in the Allentage, how incredibly dry it is up there.
Yes, that's a worry, isn't it? It's a worry.
It really is. Yeah. So I mean, my valley's perfectly green. It's almost excessively green. I mean, only the Irish would trump it, I think.
Yes, indeed. And Vasco da Gama didn't, I don't think, sail past. He preferred to go south, didn't he, than rather up onto the Celtic coast of Wales. But can you imagine?
He had some sense, didn't he? He went for the warmth.
He did. But what do you think? What would have been the Welsh hybrid of Portuguese and Welsh life if Vasco da Gama had gone north? And and if he'd presented a poultry gift to you, history would have been very different, wouldn't it?
If it had been a poultry gift, it would probably have been a Frango Peri Peri, which would have been very nice. Thank you very much.
That's right. A few centuries later, and you've got the old Nando's, haven't you? Which people love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing like a proper Portuguese Frango Peri Peri, though. It's a fake. It's a very poor imitation. Very poor.
Thank you for pointing that out. Sorry to Nando's. Not sorry. Douglas are the named Douglas Hughes of LBC Radio. Is that Douglas Hughes or Douglas Cameron? But you're not that Douglas of LBC. You have been Douglas of BBC before now, though, haven't you?
Oh, many moons ago. Yeah. I'll have to send you a picture. Then you can flash that on the screen one morning.
Love to see that. And
a much younger me, but still dressed the same.
In your BBC announcer's outfit. Morning, Doug. Quite a few old cars knocking around the Algarve. They don't rot. Saw several 2CVs and Renault 4s.
Oh, Renault 4s were actually made in Portugal, believe it or not.
Right? That's
yes,
the
they were made in Portugal.
Looking one. Funny shaped car, isn't it, the Renault 4?
Yes, and they've got self-closing doors because the sides of the car are like this. They lean inwards. So when you open the front door, you go... So you've got to watch your fingers on driving one of those.
There's a French design fault there. Too much about style and not enough about practicality.
Oh, no, it's a wonderful practical thing because you never forget to shut the door.
sliding windows, stick shifts on the dashboard. There's your Renault 4. And
It's a
Antonio
funny
F.
stick shift. You pull it in and out because it's a remote stick shift.
Steady.
And I believe the gearbox is just ahead of the engine on the
Oh,
front.
I see.
So all the gubbins go across the top of the engine to the front. So you use this basically to remotely change gears. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a great, as you said earlier on when we started this conversation, great place for cars. And it's almost like forensic car ownership, isn't it? You can drive around Portugal. So, oh, I had one of those, or my uncle had one of those, or my mum used to drive one of those. And this is what you see, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
I think in UK, you don't, there's scrappage and there's all sorts of things, isn't there? Going against the preservation of old cars, not least what, Coach Turner was saying, they rot, don't they? But you don't get that in a sunny climate and a non-salty climate. So
Well,
here
no.
they are, brother-in-law still running a Renault 4. Tell us more about motors here, because you love your motors, don't you?
Me, yeah, I do. I was just going to say that I think it's the first Sunday of every month in Amas de Pera, on the seafront there. There's the Algarve Club Automobile de Algarve have a gathering there. So classic cars every Sunday, first Sunday every month, and there's all sorts there. And you tend to see different makes of cars, be classic cars in Portugal as you would in England. There's more of a continental influence. You'll have German cars and so on, things that you wouldn't necessarily have seen as much of in the UK.
Which must be fascinating for you. And I mean, it's a lovely thing. So there might be a few people here thinking, oh, what are those two overgrown boys talking about with cars? But the funny thing about a car rally or a gathering is it's very evocative, isn't it? And the people that are so passionate about what they do, whether you like cars or not, those events are really good fun, I think.
They're more about the nostalgia than the cars, I think. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. The cars are merely icons of an age gone by, aren't they?
Aren't they just? And you can tune into that, can't you? Whether you were there or not, the cars are evocative of times. I mean, the guy who did my car most recently, which is almost vintage, I think it's a 20-year-old Skoda. I call it the truck. It's amazing. What a fantastic vehicle. But he's got some lovely old cars in there with, like, I think the windscreens are plate glass. There's chrome. It's a very heavy vehicle. It looks like if you had a crash in it, it would be disastrous. And things have changed so much in quite a short space of time. Not enough for some people, of course, but isn't it amazing what we used to run around in maybe 50 years ago compared to what we've got now?
Oh yeah, I mean, old cars they were built of heavier stuff. They were more solid, but of course they didn't have crumple zones and passive safety features built in, which you do on modern cars. So there's a thing that Channel 5 did, a Renault Modus, which is a relatively small car, versus a huge Volvo 900 series, and they did a 40 mile an hour head on, and the Volvo simply dissolved. Basically, it was crushed.
Crushed the Volvo.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You wouldn't believe it, would you? You would not believe that, would you?
I would imagine the Volvo drivers looking at each other and go, did you just hear something? But no.
Exactly. No.
Wow.
Completely the other way around.
My goodness. My goodness. All right. How's your battery? Electric vehicles. You a fan?
I've certainly not been tempted so far. The infrastructure isn't here. Plain and simple.
They only got 2 chargers in Portugal. Victoria, can't wait to see your videos. I need to see some single-person action. I sense trouble here. There's going to be some wild nights out in the Algarve. Yeah, girl, says Victoria. Not a problem here. When are you landing? That's going to be some fun. Right? Okay, enjoying the chaos that is my kids visiting. Sent one back yesterday, but one's still here. That's lovely, Rebel Mum. Isn't that lovely to give them the backdrop that you have there and take them all over Portugal? And I think I've got one of your photos here that I just can't take off the picture deck because I love it so much. And I think it's the lovely horses with the flat hair. Or did I get rid of it? I love that picture. Oh, here they are. Did your kids get to see that? Isn't that lovely? As I said before, there are women who I know who would love hair as straight as that. But these horses in the Peneda de Gerês do it naturally, and they just rock up at Rebel Mama's house like that. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. I'm very attached to that picture. Thank you, Rebel Mama, for sharing that with us. Okay, so Nubia Net and Victoria are planning together. Looking forward to joining a fertility ritual. That might be connected as well. I don't know. Maybe not. Good morning, everyone. How are you all today? Happy new moon. No mooning here yet. Who knows how this could go in the next 25 minutes. But good morning, Mrs. M. Up and about early this morning, of course, warming up the studio for me, which I feel is like a... Tell me about this in your old BBC days. Going into a warm studio, it's a bit like sitting on a warm toilet seat, isn't it, Doug?
Yeah. There was what this was in BBC that when I worked for independent radio. We had it was actually in an old bank. The studio there was, it used to be an old Barclays Bank, I think. And one of the rooms upstairs used to be a very tiny office, and it had all the equipment in it. And it was literally was it Philip Schofield's broom cupboard for CBBC in the early days?
Not going in there.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Absolutely tiny, yes.
Presumably you could smoke in those little rooms as well back in the day.
We tended not to.
Okay.
Otherwise, bits of ash went into the equipment, and the technical lads would shake a stick at you. You know, no. I mean, all the studios I used was self-op. So
okay. Oh, I see. Right. Even in those days. Okay. When they were obviously beginning to pare down the BBC, and those pipe smoking, jacket wearing men were going to become a thing of the past. Several hotels rent push bikes. The Mamel Bailer in Sagres rent push bikes. There you go. Going back to the OLP. And good morning to Mrs. M from Nubia Net. We're both here in the morning, but I should be asleep. Eating all the strawberries. They were beautiful. The pictures yesterday, they look great. But usually the smaller ones are tastier. Isn't that a life lesson? Carl, up here, there is a carnival festa called Pai Velha, Old Father. They burn the effigy at the end. It was cancelled this year. So next year, it's from pre-carnival era. So a spring. So yeah, I mean, I think carnival is a bit like Halloween, isn't it? How it's co-opted a lot of other more ancient festivals. Bolloré Christmas thing. And more for you, OLP. I know you can also rent quad bikes in the summer in Lagos as well, from Chris there. Woof, woof. What was that going back to, I wonder? Is that a greeting for you as you came on the screen?
Could have been, yeah. Woof, woof.
Who let the Dougs out?
Who let the Dougs out? No.
Bless you, Moaz and Nubia Net, for your presence this morning. Hope you get some good sleep later on. Okay, that was Taxi. So, good morning, Gumpers from Taxi. Woof, woof there. That explains everything. Okay, so LP enjoying all of that. Ask anything about the Algarve and Portugal, of course. Doug's here, the wonderful Douglas Hughes, prolific writer for the Portugal News, and our 2-minute taster man. And just like I like to say, who doesn't like a 2-minute taster first thing in the morning? We do. We love that right here, Doug. Keep them coming. Midlife crisis. Okay, I know the cake and tradition of hiding an object inside, and the person who finds it brings the cake next year. The king cake thing happening there and in the home of Mardi Gras, of course, Fat Tuesday in New Orleans. So the connections between these ancient festivals, I love joining the dots like that. Ask anything about Portugal. Did all the dogs go crazy barking in the middle of the night? Or was it just the 50 or so just outside my bedroom window? Something you got to get used to, right? Barking dogs in Portugal, Doug?
Oh, absolutely. When I first, all those years ago, when I first came to Portugal, I was horrified. I mean, they literally howled like wolves, in the middle of the night. Oh, I mean, I couldn't believe the fascination that people have with dogs. And then one day, coming back from the pub, or the cafe bar or whatever, there's no real pubs in Zagreb, is there? Not in the true sense of the word. And cross this piece of scrubland. And people had tied these huge dogs there, because they could shelter in the sun out of underneath the scrub and all that sort of thing. But I didn't expect that. And these are the things I howled in the middle of the night. Yeah, certainly do. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. And yeah, you get used to it. You get used to it. Like the cockerels, church bells, don't come here if you can't cope with sorry, that sounds a bit aggressive, doesn't it? But seriously, if you're very sensitive like that and you can't cope with dogs barking in the night or cockerels crowing and church bells and things like that, those are lovely parts of Portuguese life as far as I'm concerned. Or bring earplugs. That's the thing to do.
You know what? They say it's in the political sphere. If you've got somebody in Parliament who keeps on rabbiting on about the same subject, and the other person turns around and says, "A dog that barks all the time tends not to get listened to," and and basically, that's what happens in Portugal. You stop listening after a while.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, everyone. Happy to see another stream. Helder, you're most welcome here. Great to see you. Woof woof in Portuguese is that's, yeah, according to Goofy Translate. Yeah, let's call Google Goofy from now on. And that makes sense, doesn't it? A bit like the French ducks go coin coin, don't they? So, okay, let's go with that. Emma Gent, hello, good morning, Gumpers. We have landed. That is fantastic news. Well done. Arrived yesterday with our bags for the next stage of life. Can't wait. Jean and Sharon, bem-vindo a Portugal. That's such good news, Doug, isn't it?
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
This is what
absolutely.
we're
Any idea whereabouts they've landed and whereabouts they're going?
I'm going to guess Lisboa for now.
Wow.
And a bit of touring. But, in that 10 years and in this 2 years of Good Morning Portugal, Expats Portugal, as you've been involved in the community, we're seeing a lot of change, aren't we?
Absolutely. We certainly are. I mean, you can take my 10 years, can't you? And you can whittle it down really to 8, because the last 2 people haven't been moving around as they would have liked. But even in those two lockdown 2 years, I've managed to come over for lengthy spells in periods where you were allowed to travel. Yeah, there are changes, no question.
Yeah. And we're seeing people who were once interested and maybe listened to the show arriving, like Sharon and Jean are doing here. And well done, everyone. A lovely warm welcome. Deborah Davis, who likes a bit of battered fish as well, as I saw you saying earlier on. Obrigado, I can finally watch listening real time, not at 1 a.m. California time. Oh, it's so good. Welcome, Sharon and Jean. Superb news. Yes, Antonio F, Moaz, everybody. I think wishing you great times, good times here in Portugal. And from Taxi as well. How about that? million euro properties are not, have never been my dream homes. And I love laundry hanging in the front. That's not a euphemism, I don't think. It's charming and works really well. And it's not even a teeny bit entitled. Okay.
It's funny, isn't it? You see the very expensive properties in places like Cascais. And
Yes.
they've got huge, great walls around them, so their exclusivity means that they themselves look excluded somehow.
Yes, indeed. Yes, well spotted. Yeah, I think James somewhere said, MC Slug said, "Don't be a Portuguese knife, Carl." Nicely done. I can't find that comment, but when Doug looks it up later, he'll laugh out loud. Oh, we haven't had one of these from a while. A screamer from Rima. It's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Yes. Although my 10-year-old is very wise. He heard me and Mrs. M talking to each other, and he said, "You're having a nice off." And I thought, what? And he said, like, you just need to say what you need to say. You're just being too nice. And from the mouths of babes, a nice off. If you find yourself a nice off, then maybe that's asking for a little bit more transparency and honesty. But 10-year-olds, what are they like? What do you think here? Was British Airways computer blackout a cyber attack? I think so, says Sarah. I think companies don't like to own up to this, do they, Doug?
No, they certainly don't. I mean, there was some kind of data breach going back many 2 or 3 years, wasn't it, with EasyJet and others. So whether it was a cyber attack, who knows? I mean, they wouldn't own up to it because it shows that their own system is prone to breaches.
Yeah, indeed. Been seeing videos of Ukrainians teaching how to drive Russian military vehicles, assuming so they can steal them, says a rumor, part of a massive rumor mill. I mean, it's all people have got to go on, isn't it, in many ways. And unarmed elderly approaching armed Russian soldiers with flowers and asking them to leave. Now, that's familiar, isn't it? A carnation revolution. To take it down would be the most wonderful thing, wouldn't it? And to have the real people of Russia and the Ukraine, who I'm pretty sure, just like as Muhammad Ali once said, "I ain't got no beef with the Viet Cong." I'm sure they, generally speaking, don't have beef with each other, and this would be very different if it were people to people. And that's not to say they wouldn't have their difficulties and differences. That's just people for you.
Yeah.
But the level we have it at is, I think, needs a little bit of de-escalation.
There's no question about it. I was actually speaking to some young Ukrainian people down in Villamora. And they literally did say that they have no beef with the Russian people. They've got people that they went to university with, people that they're related to, and but basically, you've got to remember this was one great big country at one point. So there are even language parities and social parities and cultural parities between the two territories. And it's just, this is Putin, not the people.
Indeed, indeed, and it should be said that, shouldn't it? We said this before. Refer to it as the Russian government who are being hostile, and Putin, and those what I call the sexually frustrated, unhealed old men who need to get a grip on themselves, and see that that's not what everybody wants. Just because they're full of fear and are very greedy, it's not everyone else's cup of tea. Give it a rest, fellas. If I paint my house with the wrong shade of paint, I think that is not a house painted with shades of pain. Let's not go there right now. But if I paint my house with the wrong shade of paint, the association would call me about it. It's so crazy. The laundry thing in Portugal is liberating. Libertad!
That's quite right.
And let's go back for a bit more fresh direction. Having a lovely chat with you this morning, Doug. Thank you so much for being here. We will attempt to resolve this at around 10 o'clock. We do have a Burning Man ceremony to do then, and a lovely little video inspired by Chris that I want to share with you. But what moves on that sweet lady? I want to be her neighbor. You saw her earlier on in Nazaré, where there is a great restaurant, Little India, amazing food. Honestly,
I know it. I know it well. It's up a little. It's up a little side street. I went there on the night it opened.
Did you really? There's Doug. You've got a nose for these things, Doug. But everything is up a little side street in Nazaré, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you're, of course, on the seafront. Yeah.
Yes,
it's a lovely town. Yeah, it is.
All right. Hate to step away. Cindy B's going to prep for the permaculture class. So fondle the like button, she says. Good Gumpers. Thank you. Have a great course, Cindy B. Permaculture. What a wonderful subject. Let's go for a bit of festa action now. Carnival action. In Pudence. A great job. I think Lonnie and Ralph will get other testimonials in, I'm sure. And this is what it was all about up there in Pudence. We'll play you some video now and we'll go out with the Burning Man thing and we'll chat to Doug a little bit more after this. So I don't want to play you the Burning Man thing yet. Where did that go? If I do, I'll stop. No, I can see what it is now.
He's lost it.
No, I found it again. I never had it. I never had it, Doug. Isn't that amazing? Primal,
certainly is. Very loud.
Sorry, everybody, if I woke anybody up there. Anyone trying to get to sleep in America, apologies. And as Doug said, nice outfit, but keep away from my buttocks. Thank you so much.
Right, yeah.
Lisa and Carlos there. What's this? HOA is a horrible pain and a very expensive. Is this a housing? Is this the Housing Residents Association? I wonder. Okay, I think we've got to scroll through a bit further on. Look at this. OLP loving a lot of love for Lee there. Great show on Monday. That's our gardening show. I forgot the lawn. I say forget the lawn, grow a garden. Yes. Prescient. A photo sent of Alvor shrimp. Fancy seeing an Alvor shrimp, Doug?
I would love to see an Alvor shrimp. I really would.
Who doesn't like an Alvor shrimp first thing in the morning? We love Indian food, so the name of the restaurant, please, in Nazaré will be appreciated. Rebel Mama's all over that. Doug, while I'm finding the shrimp pictures, tiny but tasty, now I'm craving a cod piece. No, a piece of cod, I suspect that is, rather than... Well, maybe you are craving a cod piece. I don't know.
With a bit of mushy peas.
That's right, a tiny but tasty cod piece. No, we're getting all mixed up here, but if you could answer the question, are you a Fran or are you a Fanchesina? Could you say, do you like said, it's not a delicacy, is it? Special, there's nothing delicate about it. Do you like a Franchesina?
Now then, I should know what a Franchesina is. Kindly enlighten me and remind me of what that is. What's
all right, it's a multi-meat sandwich covered in cheese and a beer sauce.
Yeah, I know the one.
I
haven't tasted one. I have to be honest.
Oh my god, that's caused an atmosphere.
It has, isn't it? I just go for the tosh. I just go for the plain. I'm a toshta mishta man myself.
I can tell. Say no more, sir. But yes, I guess you could do a toshta mishta sina and maybe cover it in cheese and beer sauce and have some chips with it. That'll be amazing, actually.
One of the cafes made one, and basically it was a tosta mishta made with a rustic bread and the usual fillings, and they'd put the Italian stringy cheese, the mozzarella type cheese on the top, and grilled it all, and it was absolutely delicious. I think that was in Oliao,
Oh, my word.
in one of the cafes near the market. I'm sure it was.
Oh, check
Yeah.
you out, Doug. Amazing. Okay, so we've
Mm.
got some shrimps to show. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think of a shrimp in the UK, a shrimp is a little thing, isn't it? But in America, shrimps can be quite big, can't they?
I think, yeah, that I mean, those shrimp in the UK, that the little pink ones you buy in a bag, they've got no flavour at all because it's all been washed away. Yeah.
And they're just something to nibble on in a pub, aren't they? I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
horrible
lots
thing.
of lovely photos. Oh, yeah, and once you've had them here, you just think, I'm not never doing that again. Okay, lovely
Absolutely.
pictures. A horse at night at Soiseau. We got pictures from the north. We got pictures from the south. We got pictures from Central this morning. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. Thank you very much, folks, for your lovely pics. We will do our best to squeeze them all in. Oh, look at this. Neil Perkins is here as well, talking of the Alan Show. It's been a while. And there is talk to get the band back
Good
together
morning,
again.
Neil. Good morning.
Are you up for it then in the autumn? Good morning, Portugal Wine Club. Revisited, unplugged, remix.
It'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah, it'd be
it'd be good.
absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it would be nice to do that, even if it was a couple of one-offs, you know?
Indeed, I think once a month. Ignorance is not necessarily an insult; it means lack of information. Yeah, I'll own that. Algarve question for Doug: want to bring my bestie down there when she visits? What beach areas are more hippie than pricey, as in snooty? Good question.
Well, what you need, basically, anywhere around Zagreb, very hippie,
Okay.
all surfy dudes, and there's a lot of very unpretentious bars there around the Praca da República,
Yep.
where you can go and have a very inexpensive lunch and a very inexpensive beer, and very nice Portuguese people. They're all family owned.
Okay, so go east on the Algarve.
No,
West,
Zagreb is on the west, isn't it? Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was I was trying to do never eat shredded wheat in my mind. Of course, go west, go towards the Atlantic, towards the Atlantic, and Portimao is the invitation to you as well. And yes, there we go. Rebel Mama, try farther west, Salema Sagres as well.
Absolutely.
That's really good. Yeah,
No
Sharon
question.
and Jean know a thing or two already. About the West Algarve there. Back to the animals then for tomorrow night's webinar. I'm having a terrible trying to get my giraffe here. A simple solution coming from the community. Tell them it's your emotional support animal. They'll let it on the plane. There you go. We are dealing with many issues and questions here very successfully, I would say. And thanks from Rebel Mama. I want to get her to move here. She's Malibu born and raised and needs the ocean in her daily life, but she's a hippie through and through.
She sounds like a Zagreb person. Absolutely.
Yeah, a Zagresian. I think the guess the Gumper guy, is it Ian the coach? No, it's not. Keep them coming, those guesses. And yes, and it's a year-round city with good connectivity, no car needed. Portimao. Vote for Portimao from Victoria. Stuff to do. Cool village nearby. Faragudo, Alvor, Silves as well. Brilliant.
I love Silves. It's inland, but it's not terribly far from the sea. And it's the countryside around there is awesome. Silves is fast becoming one of my favourite spots in the Algarve.
Excellent. You've got so much love for the Algarve, haven't you? Here we go. So here's the new phrase for property searching in Portugal. Caveat emptor, luandi sicat ubique. I think that means be careful, buyer. Buyer beware. There's laundry drying everywhere. And actually that rhymes, which is pretty good as well, isn't it? Very good work there, Prof, as we've come to expect from you, sir. I've been to that classic cars meetup in ADP. I must say how beautiful the cars look in the lovely sunshine. Yes, sunshine helps, doesn't it? Mrs. C is in that gleaming chrome and paintwork, waxing. Mrs. C and I went a few years ago whilst staying in the Holiday Inn. We stumbled across it. And that's what you do here. We have a 48. You know this vehicle? A 48 Ford Deluxe Coupe. Sadly, we will be selling it. We already sold our 53 Chevy. Oh, well, they were fun. They were fun, weren't they, Doug?
53 Chevrolet. There was even a song about it, was there not?
Very, very before my time, Doug. Bon dia from Pavard to Varzim there. Good morning, Mark. Great to have you here this morning. And Chris Rattenbury. Good morning, Cobra from Mrs. T. Not that one. She asks, do folk grow and cook fruit veg such as rhubarb crumble or jam making? Of course they do. I've been enjoying some morning, Chris. Great to have you. I've been enjoying some quince jam. Made here in Portugal. It's got a lovely fragrance to it. Love it. After that's now the marmalade with whiskey and has gone. That was a very kind gift from William. Oregonians loving Portugal. My ex and I had a 49 Dodge, a 53 Ford. What's a PU, Doug?
I have no idea, to be perfectly honest. I'm not really that au fait with Americans.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Ford PU, no idea. Could it be
All
a
right.
no idea really. I'm just
Pickup. It's
guessing.
a pickup. 53 Ford pickup.
Oh, pickup, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And a 58 Plymouth Belvedere LOL. I think
Mm.
the LOL is not related to the car, but look at those lovely vehicles
Even
there.
I know that. Laugh out loud, isn't it? Even I know that. And
Oh,
I'm old.
lots of love. Hey, look, Lonnie's glad to see Jean and Sharon here. Hey, say hi if you get to Porto. Thanks, will do. This is fantastic. Keep it up, everybody. That's wonderful. News clip, man. What's the matter? Truck driver ran out of gas. Yes. That is what's going on, isn't it? Oh, how I love Nazare. It's just out of this world, and so is San Martino de Porto. I think that's what that means there. Just can't get enough of it. A Porto thing is the Francesina. George da Costa. Hola, bon dia. Never had a Francesina either. Wow, you surprised me. I don't eat pork, and even if possible to have it without, it looks rather heavy going. Yes, there are vegan versions. Jumbo shrimp is an oxymoron. Okay, let's not go down that crustacean cul-de-sac. Let's just have a look at those shrimps and get our mouths watering this morning. Thanks for all these late entries to the show today. Always good to get them. And let's have a look at Victoria's prawns right now, as well as the view from a window in Penella, and some pics from up north with Rebel Mama. So here's the shrimp. Yum.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. It's a nice bottle of white there.
I'd say that's enough for sharing, wouldn't you?
Did Victoria eat that alone, do you think? After the nice contrast to the strawberries yesterday. And there, after cooking, I think. What have they been dipped in some hot fat there? I wonder. And Serge Azetal, nice bottle of white. Very good. Going up to the north, then, I think. Beautiful pictures here from Rebel Mama. Thank you so much. And a horse walking through town, as they do.
As they do.
Yep, in the Peneda Jerez-ish area. And out of the window in Penella, happy birthday, Tony. Have a great time, Pam and Tony. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, look at that. There doesn't seem to be any water shortage there either, does there?
Not there in Central, and it's quite green and lush looking.
Absolutely.
Thank you for those pics. Let's go to the last few comments before we go to our Burning Man ritual today. If you've got any issues you want to burn up, anything you want to metaphorically get rid of, we'll be doing that. Thank you to Lonnie, to Ralph, and to Lisa and Carlos for the lovely videos and pictures this morning. Superb. Prawns, not shrimp. Oh, in Canadians and Americans having a pop at each other. The big ones are prawns. All right. Robert Vinco, a bondier from an American expat in Provence, France, moving to Santa Barbara, Portugal in 30 days. And that's confusing, isn't it? I'm moving to Santa Barbara. Really? Yeah, in Portugal. 30 days. Fantastic. PU pickup. We're catching up with ourselves here, Doug. Sagres is truly amazing. A beach less explored, Carapateira beach in the Western Algarve, or check out our Arifana beach, also in the Western Algarve. You will love them all. So I think your tip's good there. The hippie tip is good this morning. Go to the West. Resurrection of the GMP WC. Not... I don't think we should call it the WC, do you? I think we should call it the...
It usually happens at the end, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. The wine club sounds like a plan. So we get Perkins back for that. That's fantastic. And he can look forward to those 100-kilometer round trips trying to find the bottle in question. Do you remember all of that trouble? Oh,
we need to introduce cheese to the proceedings as well, Carl, I think.
That's very Downing Street, Doug. Carl just butchered your story. What did I do? I do understand he's managing all kind of things at once, and he gets hurried at the end. I do. Suze, I'm so sorry. She's been banned. She's had her story butchered. It happens. It happens for those very reasons, MC Slug. And I know it was for the scrollers, the rollers, the scrollers, and the gumpers this morning. Yes, thank you for your understanding in this matter, because we have to say thank you to Doug and give him a final word. Catch up with you in the Portugal news, of course, a regular contributor, keeping up with you with the 2-minute tasters. Doug, thank you so much. What would you like to say from Wales this morning?
It's cold.
Simply that. Okay. And we look forward to seeing you again here in the Algarve, if not in person. I mean, we want to do more of these meetups. We want to get together in person. We will do the wine club. But all the best to you, and looking forward to seeing you here in some way in the Algarve real soon. And lots of love to Wales and the UK and the family there, of course.
Thank you very much indeed. And thanks for having me.
De nada. Oh, when do we find out who the 80s guy is? When you guess it correctly. I don't think we've had a correct guess yet. And I'll show that again in a minute. Thanks, Doug, from the OLP as well. Some love there from the OLP. We haven't got a rap name for you. Are you a fan of the hip hop and rap genre, Doug? I don't
You
see
can
it.
tell by looking at me that I'm a rapper down to the core. Yeah.
Do you want to do a quick mic drop before you go? Human beatbox live from Wales. Thanks, Doug. Cheers. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
There he goes. Oh, cut him off unceremoniously there as well. Marvellous work. Thank you so much, Dougie Hughes. Seriously, keep up with him in the Portugal News. He's writing so much for the Portugal News at the moment. And, of course, 2-minute taste of time. We have a few more of those to share with you. Video now, though, interestingly. Wow. I don't think we've done that one yet, Rebel Mama. Or did we do that and we got another picture? So I think that might have. Let's just pretend that didn't happen, and we'll come back to that. You might want to send it to me again. Doug is a great guy, of course he is. That's why I was here this morning, and manfully and brilliantly standing in for Michael Heron. And we will have Doug on again. Always great to chat with Doug. Expats Portugal just sending a picture of the ADP car meeting in WhatsApp. I might have to carry some of these forward to tomorrow. It's been a busy show. We've covered a lot of ground, and we have a Burning Man ceremony to share with you now. And then something rather uplifting thereafter, uplifting and moving. So I'm going to do that now for you. Sorry if I didn't get to anything, any comments, if I've butchered any stories, we will carry them forward, and you're always very welcome to prompt me. So let's together brace ourselves or open ourselves to getting rid of stuff we no longer need mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and take part, co-opt what went on in Pedence yesterday at this incredible ceremony. And just let it go, folks. Let it burn up. Let's get rid of anything that's hanging there and causing a blockage in our etheric systems, or however you see your model of the world. If there's anything blocking up your system that you want to be rid of, chuck it on this fire now. Thanks, everyone. And I'll see you tomorrow with Wiley in the morning, of course, live from Qashqai.
On the 25th of April, the MFA announced that the people should remain at home because they feared armed confrontations on the street. But the Portuguese population clearly disobeyed the military orders to stay at home because the thirst for freedom overcame all fears. And so people took the streets to the thousands and supported the military coup to force the resignation of the leader of the regime. The people brought red carnations and distributed them to the soldiers, who stuck them in their rifle barrels, making the flower the symbol of the revolution. The revolutionary process of 74 and 75 was one of the liveliest experiences in Portuguese history. In 19 months, there were 2 failed coups, 6 provisional governments, the process of independence of the colonies, several mass strike waves, demonstrations, occupations of thousands of houses, a profound agricultural reform, occupations of land, the creation of workers' cooperatives, workers' councils, trade unions, neighborhood commissions, self-managed factories, businesses, offices, newspapers, and radios. Because the thirst for freedom overcame all fears.